Today I am going back into the world of anxiety-inducing Japanese films made by a British man, and I'm of course talking about The Sound of Summer, which was recently released through Unearthed Films, and it's the latest film by director Guy. Yep, Guy, or Sculpting Fragments. For people who've been following me for a couple of years, you might remember me reviewing his previous film, Difficulty Breathing, and I really enjoyed that. So when he announced that he was releasing a feature-length film, this one, I got pretty excited. I might have preed. And as soon as Guy started discussing his newest film, I got even more excited. Basically, he was inspired by the fact that he's a British man who left England and discovered that summer was a thing. Now, I like to poke fun at the British because I'm French-Canadian and we kind of have a history, but I have to admit that Guy is correct. I was in Japan, not even during the summer, in October, and I was sweating my balls off, so I can't even imagine how bad it is in fucking June, or August, or July, or even September. I know months! And as a warning, this review contains minor spoilers. Obviously, I won't spoil the entire film because I want you guys to go buy it right now or rent it, I think, through Unearthed website, but I will be saying minor spoilers because there's just some things that I can't skip over. So, what is the plot of The Sound of Summer? Well, honestly, the plot is quite simple, and that's what I appreciate about Guy's movies, because Difficulty Breathing was simple to follow along, and this one is too. It's not too confusing, it's just about this girl who works at a coffee shop and she wakes up one morning during the summer and we realize quickly that she fucking despises summer. It's hot, she's sweaty, and she really hates the sound of cicadas. Cicadas. I'll be alternating between both of those pronunciations because I don't know which one is the right one. And that's where we see the cicadas, and they play a real important part of this film. This film is basically about how aggressive the cicadas are in Japan, and that's another point that director brought up whenever he was talking about this movie, is that he was not used to hearing cicadas, because I don't think they have them in Britain. They have them here in Canada, they're just not as obvious as in this film. Like, honestly, if you asked me yesterday what a cicada looked like, I wouldn't have known. But after today, oh boy do I know, because there's a lot of close-ups, and they're quite fucking gross. Even the title sequence is like this first person view of somebody catching cicadas. I don't know. How do you pronounce cicadas?
That's pronounced cicadas.
Okay. So yeah, cicadas aren't really beautiful creatures, and we see a lot of them, so if you don't like bugs, this might not be the movie for you. And if you have severe anxiety, well, like most of Guy's film, this one's probably not for you too. So yeah, we follow along our character who works at a coffee shop, and she goes into work, complains about the weather and the sound of cicadas, but her co-worker kind of like the cicadas because they are the sound of summer. They remind you of, summer. Which I have to agree, because whenever you're hearing cicadas, you know it's gonna be beautiful outside and slightly hot. And as she's working at the coffee shop, she's just, working. And eventually we meet the antagonist of this film, at least what we think is gonna be the antagonist, and that is Cicada Man. Not to be confused with Cicada Boy, but that's for further along in the film. And Cicada Man is this kind of weird guy who really likes cicadas, and the girls kind of make fun of him due to his hobby being catching cicadas. Because from what I understand, apparently, based on this film, is that catching cicadas is actually an activity that children in Japan do. Kind of like here, you have kids catching butterflies. Well, apparently, it's common over there to catch cicadas. Except this man hasn't grown out of it, and he still enjoys capturing cicadas. The girls at the coffee shop kind of make fun of him, which is not nice. Don't make fun of somebody's hobby, because I related to Cicada Man, because I also have a hobby of collecting vintage pornography and weird Asian films. Well, it's not that. At least I'm not collecting bugs. Yeah, that would be weird. I've become self-aware, god damn it. And this making fun of Cicada Man will not turn out to be great, because even though we don't really know, and it's not really nice to make fun of people's hobby, Cicada Man is kind of a weirdo, fucked up guy. We see a scene in his apartment where he does something, and all we can hear is sounds of a woman kind of crying, so we can assume that he's doing fucked up shit to feed his cicadas. At this point, I'm saying cicadas so much, I don't even feel like it's a real word anymore. And Cicada Man kind of becomes a regular at the coffee shop. You know, the girls are just like, he's just some weird guy that likes to catch cicadas. But he's more than that, actually. And as the movie moves along, our main character kind of goes nuts. She starts to hear cicadas always, she starts to itch, she feels like she's been bitten by a cicada, and then she starts to have rashes and feel like shit. She can't sleep. She has rashes, so her coworker tells her to go see the doctor. And the doctor is like, hey man, you know, some people, you know, when you say the word lice, they start to itch. You probably just have some psychological problems related to cicadas. So, I'll give you sleeping pills for your sleeping issues, but try not to, you know, scratch yourself, because it's probably just mental. Which is probably a good explanation, but not really a satisfying one, especially when our character, or rashes, start to get more and more big and worrying. And then that's where our character kind of turns into a fucking nut job. Whatever, she buys some anti-cicadas, cicada spray or something, and she starts spraying herself with her and then washing her clothes in the anti-cicada spray. You can see that she's clearly starting to be a bit demented. She calls off of work, she's not doing too well, and as I said, eventually she starts scratching off her skin and using pliers, well not pliers, sorry, the tweezers, the things you pull out your nose hair with, to go into her skin to supposedly take out parasites, or cicada eggs, and yeah, she's not doing too hot. She even goes into the shower and tries to remove some cicadas from her vagina. So yeah, then she returns to go see her doctor, and her doctor is basically like, yo bitch, you fucking crazy, here's some antipsychotic pills, you just have to take them until, you know, the cicadas stop singing, and then you should be good. And good she was not. And that's where I'll stop, because the last 25-30 minutes of the film are really the highlight and probably the thing that like made me fall in love with this movie, because up to there it was really good, but it was just, you know, pretty standard kind of, you know, following a character going crazy. But once she goes full out, that's where the movie gets chef's kiss. So, what did I think of The Sound of Summer? Well, if it's not obvious enough, I fucking love this movie, and I'm so glad that it got a wide release so more people can watch it. Guy is a really talented guy, pun intended, and he needs more exposure, because the films he creates are fucking great. I love Difficulty Breathing, and I love this one even more. It's a feature-length film, but it's only 75 minutes, and it goes by so quick that you probably won't, like, realize that it's that short. Of course, since this is very low budget, there are some technical mistakes. I'd say some of the sound is not amazing whenever they talk, which is not that bad because this isn't a dialogue heavy film. Therefore, the fact that the dialogue is not the clearest doesn't really matter, especially because we have subtitles, so that's not the biggest issue. My biggest issue with some of these scenes are really the overexposure on some of them. Some of these scenes are overexposed intentionally to show how fucking bright and hot the sun is, but some of the scenes just seem like, oh, they were a bit in a rush, so it didn't come out as, you know, clear as they wished for. So that's my only issue with the technical aspect, is some of the shots are a bit overexposed, or some of the shots are just, the lighting isn't great, like the night shots in the coffee shop, which is clearly just the lighting from the ceiling lights, so it looks kind of yellowish orange. But other than that, technically, it's a very impressive film, especially towards the end, and especially when it comes to special effects. The music is really good. The theme song is from... I forgot. God damn it, I'm bad with names. No, the original soundtrack is by Microchip Terror, which I have no fucking clue who that is, but that will, you know, remind somebody. Somebody will know who those people are, or who that person is. The sound design, like the dialogue might not be the best, but the sound design, just like how in Difficulty Breathing, that was a highlight of the film, this is even better, because the goddamn music with the sounds of cicadas, they just get through your skin. And honestly, if you don't like bugs, you will have a bad time, because you'll just feel them fucking crawl through your skin, especially the sound design. It's really impressive. This is legitimate. This is one of my favorite movies so far of the year, legit. Well, that I've seen this year. It's fucking incredible. And if you like the director, and if you like the director of that cat movie, goddamn, that Australian cat movie that I have in my Cat Sick Blues, they have a podcast, Show Me Something Wrong. It's an amazing podcast, and you can see that clearly the guys know what they're fucking talking about when it comes to movie, and both of them know what they're talking about when they're talking about making movies, because they've both made amazing films. So go get yourself a copy of The Sound of Summer through Unearthed Films, and if you can't do that, it's probably streaming on their website. I haven't checked, but god damn it, don't fucking pirate this movie. I'll find you and I'll shut down your throat. Have yourself a good one.